Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's the Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
In summary, you must have a balance of value in your business where you're providing video content or other content to your subscribers, to your customers. At the same time, you have to balance that with generating money, because you can't survive in your business if you're only providing free value all the time. You've got to have a systemized way to promote things. So you've got to be looking at adding more people to your business. You have to be looking at increasing your prices, and you have to be looking at additional products and services for your own customers. If you can look at those three things, build 90-day calendars where you're consistently adding each of those three areas into the calendar, and you're really focused on ascending your customers and creating new customers at the other side, you will succeed massively.
Hi, this is Heneka. I'm so glad you took the time to stop by today. In Jamaican parlance, Wagwan. I'm glad to say a dial. This episode is sponsored by HenekaWatkis-Porter.com as well as the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Now on HenekaWatkis-Porter.com, you can visit us for blogs, resources, books, online podcast courses, podcasts, and more. If you are new to the Entrepreneurial You podcast, be sure to check out past episodes with guests such as John Lee Dumas, Patrice Washington, Seth Godin, Richard Branson, Amy Porterfield, and a host of other game changers.
We needed to raise capital, but our experience with local financial institutions was that they were cautious and slow to act, and interest rates were far too high. We had real concerns about financing our business through outside equity investors and the possibility of interference. Could we get a fair valuation for our business? We had our own ideas about the business and its value. Should I go the traditional route of bank financing, or should I try the Jamaica Stock Exchange? So we made a call and experienced transformation of our business through conversations. I'm John Mafood, CEO of Jamaican Teas, and we're listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Give us a call today at 876-967-3271 to begin your transformation through conversation. We want to see your company listed on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
And now, here's today's episode. Everything must be made as simple as possible, not simpler. Albert Einstein. Hey, how are you doing, my peak performer? I trust that you are indeed staying safe in this very strange time. It is episode 167 of the Entrepreneurial You podcast. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter. Today's episode is with Stephen Summers. Stephen is the co-founder of Marketplace Superhouse, an online education and services company that helps people all over the world learn how to sell their own products globally on Amazon, complete from scratch. Together with his business partner, Robert, Stephen has sold over $12 million in products on Amazon and has now helped over 5,200 people learn how to start their own Amazon business. I'm excited, especially in this time, and I'm looking forward to having a conversation with Stephen on building a promotional system that guarantees more revenue and impact so that they can rewrite their story and rewrite a revenue story, right? Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. Now, before we dive in, have you ever been to Jamaica?
Do you want to know something? I've never been to Jamaica, and I hope this doesn't offend you, but the biggest thing in Ireland that we love about Jamaica is the movie Cool Runnings.
My gosh.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm gonna have to say that we have elevated so much more above that. But anyway,
I know.
I know it's all right.
we consistently just love hearing stories about Jamaican people. I mean, we are all in awe of your athletes and all of that. So I think the athletes in Jamaica have really put you guys on the map, certainly from our standpoint. So it's great to get to speak to somebody from Jamaica because I've never done that before. So there you go.
Great. Well, I'm really honored to be the first, and I'm really honored that you're here, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to be talking about. And if ever there was a time that our conversation is relevant, it is now, right?
Yes.
The online space has been there for the taking for a very long time, but I'm not quite sure that many did get it. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, that's a really great place to start. I recently did a stream with Robert, my business partner you mentioned earlier on, and we talked to a lot of our members, and the hashtag that I came up with from the meeting was hashtag never again, meaning like a lot of people in our world and beyond that really relied on one income source for a long time. I used to do that 12 years ago. And that's something that of late has really come under the spotlight, right? Because now people are, in some cases, like they've lost their job. Some people are, stuck at home waiting to go back to their job and things like that. So it's a really strange time for people that have kind of gone all in with their job. And so a lot of people on the call were just like, I wish I had listened even more to what you've been saying and Robert's been saying for 6 years now. 5-6 years now, and really took this idea of building a secondary income really seriously. We're taking this so seriously, Heneka, that we're actually building a new company, but a new part of our business called Side Hustle Heroes. Because the truth is that for the next long time in our history, we're going to have to start utilizing technology and the internet specifically in order to create secondary incomes, because we can see now more than ever that relying on one source of anything, even in a business, one source of income in your business is not a good idea anymore. It just leaves you too open to situations like this. So absolutely, this is a relevant time to have a conversation. And when you mentioned, did people really get it? I would say some people did, but I don't think enough people took it seriously enough to create more income streams as a whole. Like, we've got hundreds and hundreds of successful students who are doing great, but also we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of students who needed this moment, unfortunately, to really shake them up and help them realize that you have to have self-reliance and you have to have control over more than one source of income. So yeah.
And I love that. I love that hashtag never again. I think, yes, I'm going to be using it. Never again.
Sure.
No, right. Can I tell you that, we have been resisting, it would appear, for such a long time. But it's as though the things that we resist are the things that, if they are important to our lives ever, then we're going to have to catch up with them or, be forced, whether or not we want to. Like, no, we know that we're forced. People are forced to work from home, do school from home. And some people don't even know what to do with themselves, but they'll figure it out eventually.
Sure. Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because I was reading an article in the Financial Times, and the gentleman wrote books like Sapiens and stuff like that. A very, very smart guy, studies humanity and civilization and stuff like that. And he was saying that, because of what you just said, that people have been forced to do different things like work from home and all of that, our history is going to basically jump forward by, 10 years in essentially the space of a matter of months. You mentioned colleges, schools. For so long, like you said, I love what you said, like all these different institutions have been resisting change, have known that the internet is here. Technologies like Zoom is here, right? And they've really just sort of said, yeah, okay, but I'm not really worried about that anymore. Like that'll never happen or whatever. And then something like this does happen, and now we're scrambling to figure it out. And so in all, the other side of this too that's interesting is that from this negative situation, so much opportunity is going to be created and is being created, because if you think like a lot of people now, I do not take this lightly, a lot of people are hurting right now. And I really don't like that. I have so much sympathy for people. Even ourselves, like, we're not sort of going to come out unscathed. We have a freight company as part of our marketplace superheroes business, and we've had to close our warehouses for every day other than days when containers are arriving and stuff like that. So we're all feeling some level of discomfort from this situation. But the one thing for me and for anybody listening is like the opportunity to jump into the world now and really leverage technology, help small businesses get themselves online, help people who are already online get in front of more customers, and also help people who are at home with different services that can be delivered and things like that. Like that, those opportunities are humongous. But I think the issue is whenever something bad like this happens, because most of humanity is still in the old paradigm of work. That's why so many people see this as like, such a negative thing. And it is overall very negative. But the point is that, for every action, there's an equal but opposite reaction. So right now we have a huge downward trajectory in certain industries, but there's going to be an opposite reaction. Certain industries are going to rise, and certain businesses, even bars and restaurants who right now are closed. I predict that once this whole thing ends, and it will end at some point, businesses like that are going to thrive even better than ever, because we're going to be more technologically, I suppose, connected. We're going to spend way more time not in the presence of other people. And so we're going to be craving social connection and somewhere to go. So I think the whole landscape of business is going to change forever because of this.
Mm-hmm. And I like what like really how you put it. And in my mind, I'm thinking darkness cannot exist without light. And so because there is so much darkness, there is even more light that will illuminate, and we can glean the opportunities from it. The point is for us to make sure that our eyes are open and the opportunities are not missed on us because we're so focused on the darkness. And yes, there is. And it is very important that we stay alert, so that we know how to respond, and even rather than being reactive, but to be proactive in the situation, but not to miss the opportunities that you've alluded to. And so you have such a tremendous experience working on Amazon, doing business on Amazon, and you have, the opportunities that are online and have been present for a long time have not been missed on you. So now we're going to segue into the topic of the day, really, which is building that promotional system to guarantee more revenue and impact. But before we go into that, just share a little of your Amazon story.
Sure. Well, I think before I get into that, I'll just mention that the promotional system I'm going to talk about is really going to relate to people who have their own email lists and things like that. So anybody who's got an e-commerce business or a business where you're teaching people, have a services business, it'll be extremely relevant to you. People that do Amazon, the way we teach it, funnily enough, it's not quite as relevant because of the way we do Amazon, but I'll explain as I go along. But basically, my background, my story when it comes to succeeding with Amazon and then building marketplace superheroes and building superhero freight, side hustle heroes and all that, it all began, like a lot of people, where I was in a job I didn't like, and basically I was looking for a way to start something online because I knew even, over 10 years ago, I wanted to have an online business. I didn't want to be stuck to a physical location. And so I, like a lot of people, was Googling online how to make money, bought so many terrible programs, like so many shady programs, and things I would just never get involved in. And I just thought, like, is this what the internet actually is? Is it just literally one big scam pool or what? And so luckily for me, I started telling people, I needed some help. I need to try and figure out what business to be in. And I realized at that moment, physical products was a great place for me, at least to start, because I didn't have to be an expert in anything per se. I didn't have to have any prior experience or people to take me seriously. I could just find products that people wanted and make a better offer and get it in front of them. And I tried it on my own for a while. I made a lot of mistakes. I always talk about it, my cream canvas wardrobe was my first product that I ever sold. Brought it in, it sold out, but I didn't make any money because I bought something that everybody else was basically selling. I just copied everybody else, and I didn't really even know what I was doing. So to cut a long story short, which I am doing, my aunt basically said, there's this guy called Robert you should get to know. So I met this guy, Robert, and I saw he had a business selling on Amazon. He was selling on eBay. He had two warehouses, lots of staff and all of that. And I got to know this guy and I said, look, I want to learn everything I can from you. Can I do that? And he's like, yeah, Corey. Okay. So I quit my job. At the time I was a data processor, incredibly boring job. And basically moved into my aunt's spare room and just started learning. I was working in the warehouse every day, freezing cold and just moving boxes, but learning how this e-commerce business worked from the inside out, really. And I worked there for about 9 months with Robert, learning everything I could. And then, we decided at that point that all the warehouses he had, the staff he had, these are things we didn't want to really have to have anymore, because Amazon had this thing called fulfillment by Amazon, which for anybody who doesn't know, all it basically means is you can send your products that you get from the Far East or wherever you get them from, you can send them into Amazon. They'll store them for you. And then whenever you make a sale, Amazon will actually do the customer services and all the shipping for you. So it was basically a way to outsource most of the functions of the business and just focus on finding more products. Again, cutting that story short, within, probably 12 to 14 months, we turned around the business completely, brought in brand new products from scratch, and got ourselves to about $1.3 million ish per year in revenue at about a 30% net profit. A lot of people always ask me about the profit. So we were doing well. Did that for a number of years with Robert. We went on vacation with our families and enjoyed ourselves. But then, like a lot of people, we just felt like we're not really having much impact now. We're just kind of selling stuff and we're getting a lot. But I'd like to show other people how we do this, and we cannot sell all millions and millions of products, and there were other people with Amazon courses, and we just didn't feel like they were really helping people as much as we felt we could. So again, long story short, we started Marketplace Superheroes in 2015, kind of like at a bigger level. 2014 made the idea, and now it's 5 years later, well over 5,500 students. We have a freight company where we do all the shipping from China for our members. So we basically we save them a ton of money shipping their products from China to the US. So we have a huge warehouse in the US, UK, and Australia. And yeah, we've an 8-figure business doing this now. And, we've learned a lot along the way. A lot of it is down to building an audience, building a promotional machine. And that's what I'm happy to talk about.
Absolutely right. So you're headed right there. And so with so many people now migrating online, because again, we're forced to, we've had the conversation around it earlier. How do we build that promotional system? Because, it doesn't matter what we're doing. It's not going to automatically sell itself in many instances, right? We're going to need to have a system in place to promote and so on without being spammy, without, just infringing on the data protection rights of others and so on and so forth. So how do we now build that promotional system to guarantee the revenue, but not just the revenue, to have the impact, because impact is very important?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's lots of different ways to do this, but the way we've found that it's very effective is obviously just coming to your end point, which is not being spammy and scammy and all of that. That's obviously the first things first. You have to have a great product or great service that you sell or you're promoting that is a legitimate thing that's getting real results for people, number one. And then really from there, in terms of infringing on rights of people and data protection, etc., you've obviously got to have things like the correct permissions on your landing pages and stuff like that, so that whenever somebody is opting into your email list, they're aware that they're doing it. So that's just a real quick kind of brief point. To get into the specifics then, how we look at it is we live in what we call 12-week years. It's a great book called 12-Week Year, actually, which I highly recommend people check out. And that's the idea, we can achieve a year's worth of progress, success, etc. inside 12 weeks.
Stick a point. So, and see, we've gone entire year in just 3 months. So it's possible, given what is happening right now. Sorry, I had to interject.
Yeah, we've had a year in 2 weeks, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what we do. That's the first step. So there's 90 days there, of course. And what we then do is we have basically a simple calendar, like a spreadsheet, and we basically break it up into week by week. And what we then do is we look at each of the products and services that we have, and like in our value ladder. So for anybody who doesn't know what that means, basically like in your company, you'll typically have a main core product or service that you're promoting, but then you will have or should have alternative higher price in some cases, sometimes lower priced products and services. So up or down, that is your value ladder. So what we're consistently doing then is we're creating promotions to promote each of those different things. But the way we do it is we typically promote each program over a 2-week period. And the reason we do that is, and sometimes it's even 3 weeks, because we want to include a lot of content and a lot of value before we ever ask anybody to make a purchasing decision, or we ask anybody to apply for a coaching call or anything like that. So let's just say, for example, we have a program that's $5,000 or something like that. It's a higher priced offer. What we would typically do is we would have the first week of that promotion would be what we call our engagement week. So there we want to have like a hook behind what's this promotion about. So we think about the product that we're promoting. We think about a particular angle for that promotion. So let's say it's a mentorship program. So my theme for this promotion might be, like opportunity is my theme. So then my hook then to hook people in the first week is I'm going to talk about stories of opportunity where people even me, I grasped an opportunity in my past, like my story almost, and look where that got me. So we're very story based in the first week, and we're providing a lot of value. Typically then we'll provide free video content that we have on YouTube and stuff like that, which relates to the promotion. So there could be a video about the power of mentorship in the first week, for example. So then people feel like, I have 3 or 4 emails in that first week that, we're actually providing value. They're enjoying it. They don't even know there's a product or service at the end of it because that's not relevant right now. And then basically in the second week, we would start focusing on the fact that we might have a webinar that week talking about that product or service. We might have a free video series that's going to be dropping. We have something that we're building pressure up to. Because if you don't build up pressure in your business, even if you've got 500 people on your email list, you're just not going to be as successful because no one's going to invest themselves inside what you're promoting. They're not going to consume the valuable content that's helping explain why this is something they may want to do or not do. And so that's what happens in the second week. We let them know we have a webinar, for example. We tell them each day about it, and we give them a link to opt into that webinar. We always allow people to opt in. Even if they're already on our email list, we still kind of give them the option to do a one-click registration because you want to, give people the option to come on live or not. And then the third week of that little promo, we would have, let's just say, a lot of applications. That's what the whole promotion did, that webinar did on the night. We drove some applications, and then we have like a little outro sequence that usually goes from like a Thursday through to a Monday where we're, talking about the program. We're talking about the application call. We're talking about why you may want to do or not do something for a few days. And then we let people know on the Monday, we're going to be closing this down Monday evening so that there's real scarcity, there's real urgency. Because I can tell you now, Heneka, when I started this whole thing, I was like, I'm never going to do scarcity and urgency. I'm never going to do countdown timers. I'm never going to tell, I'm never going to actually close things, right? Because I thought, that's you just leave it open and people will know. But unfortunately, human nature, you have to add in reasons for people to do things or they simply will not do it. So that's why we always have deadlines in what we do, and we keep to those deadlines. And so that's basically what a simple inner promotion looks like. And then through those 90 days, we might promote 2 different things each month. And we're doing a lot of things here. We're getting out content all the time. So we're building those different social channels. We're also then, getting to know, allowing our clients to get to know us even better through this process. And also we're allowing people to choose whether or not they want to invest more time in a particular product or service before we ask them to make a purchase. And that's essentially the system at a simple level.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds very solid, and clearly it is working for you. For those business owners who may be anxious, you have a product or a service that you're selling, you may be anxious, about sales and even coming across as desperate. And so you kind of jumpstart the process, you go ahead of some of these things, but how would you advise somebody who is doing that?
Sorry, you cut out there a little bit. Just say that again, Heneka. Sorry. That's a really good question. The way I would advise is you have to, first of all, ask yourself, why are you desperate right now? So typically, the reason people and business owners are desperate is because they don't have a solid lead generation system and prospect generation system. Why do I say lead or prospect? Because they're two different things. A lead is somebody who can be very cold, doesn't know much about your product or service, may or may not be interested. Whereas a prospect is somebody who knows a little bit about what you're doing. They're somewhat interested in what you have to say, and they're ready to hear a little bit more about what it is you do. And so if you don't every day consistently have a way to have people coming into your business, you're in a lot of trouble, because you're going to run out of prospects at some point. And as a result of that, you're going to start to become desperate. So what you got to do is you got to focus on 3 ways to grow your business. And this is not my content. This is from Jay Abraham, one of my favorite business thought leaders. And he says, and some of you might have heard this before, but even if you have, I would still say listen again, because maybe you're not doing one of these steps right now. And I'm 99% certain I could look at pretty much any business and they're not doing all 3. So what are the 3 steps? Well, the only way to grow your business is, step 1, you get more customers or more leads, more prospects. That's the first way. Second way is you increase the average transaction value of your products or services, so you charge more. And the third way is you sell more often to your customers and or, by the way, subscribers, because they may not be customers yet. Now, for most business owners, they typically focus on just one of these. So maybe, for example, they have some customers and they're constantly creating new products and services, trying to sell to those people over and over again. So that's kind of like way 3. But then the problem is that they haven't been constantly adding new blood into their business in way 1. So you have to have a balance of these 3 things. And that's why our promotional system, which we briefly described, is so important, because it makes sure that we have all 3 of these bases covered. We're creating low ticket offers for people who've not bought something from us, so that they can get a feel for how good our products or services are. We have higher price coaching programs for people who want to go up the value chain and learn more and get more help. We have other services like freight, like our freight company, like our software services for the way 3, where we're selling more to our existing customers. So we're covered very well in this, and we're constantly looking for ways to improve it. So if you're desperate, the first thing I would look at is, number 1, are you selling more to your current customers, or are you constantly just trying to find new people? And then on the other side, I would actually look at your business and say, well, are you only selling to customers and you're not adding anybody into your business? And almost always it's one or the other is the problem.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Stephen. I'm going to ask you at this time to wrap up with your final thoughts. Just kind of bring it home in terms of the promotional systems, not just for revenue, but for impact as well.
In summary, you must have a balance of value in your business, where you're providing video content or other content to your subscribers, to your customers. At the same time, you have to balance that with generating money, because you can't survive in your business if you're only providing free value all the time. You've got to have a systemized way to promote things. So you've got to be looking at adding more people to your business. You have to be looking at increasing your prices, and you have to be looking at additional products and services for your own customers. If you can look at those 3 things, build 90-day calendars where you're consistently adding each of those 3 areas into the calendar, and you're really focused on ascending your customers and creating new customers at the other side, you will succeed massively. Where you're going to fail is when you don't have a system, you're running around all over the place with no idea why you're creating content or why you're creating products and services, and you don't have systems around your email, how you email people, how you contact people. But when you flip it on its head and you systemize this whole process, there's no limit to where you can go.
Such a wealth of information and knowledge base, Stephen Summers. Thank you. Thank you so much. How might our community get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can do a number of things. I'm on Instagram, Stephen J. Summers. That's PH with Stephen, and then SOMERS. You can go to marketplacesuperheroes.com, and you can go to sidehustleheroes.com. Either of those are fine. And we have a free Facebook group, Side Hustler Heroes. So feel free to join, check it out, see what we're about. And if I can help you, great. And just thanks so much for having me on today.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. It really is. So I wish you all the best on your onward journey, and trust that, as you progress, you continue to excel not only in your business, but to help others grow theirs as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And thank you, my peak performer, for tuning in to this episode with Stephen Summers. I truly look forward to connecting with you next week. But of course, in the meantime, you may connect with me if you go to Watkis-Porter.com. There's an icon on the homepage. It's a WhatsApp icon that comes directly to my phone. It's not going through any assistant. It's coming directly to me, and you get a response from me. So go right ahead. Let me know your thoughts about this podcast. Let me know how I may serve you better. Let me know anything that's on your mind regarding the Entrepreneurial You and the amazing guests that I speak to every single week. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. Walk good.